I'm Ryan with Concordance Applications. I'm also one of the maintainers of Chaplin.js, a application architecture framework on top of Backbone. Now, Backbone is very flexible. It's got a bunch of pieces on it. It's a big library. You can do a lot with it. It doesn't give you a lot of direction, which is one of the problems with it. But it does have a lot of power. What Chaplin does is it gives you direction for a very specific goal. To make HTML5 single-page web applications, which is a very common tool. And so Chaplin provides you with a lot of the bootstrapping, a lot of the core components you'd otherwise have to write, or basically a lot of the best practices and stuff to get you up to speed and actually making the application and not worrying about whether or not it's going to be a single-page application, or it's going to be this, or it's going to be that. I don't have a whole lot to talk about besides we're going to show you how to make just a simple getting a collection from the server and a bunch of photos on the screen, big collection, photographs, little fabrics from Michael, using his API. Just going to show you guys how to do that in a handful of lines here. But let me just show you this. Chaplin, oops, let me put this over here.
While you get started, I'll let him know. I'm always looking at projects on GitHub, and I ran into Chaplin just looking at Backbone frameworks, and it was my first commit to an open source project. I fixed a typo in their documentation. So that's how I got to know. Yeah, thank you.
It was very good. Yeah,
I felt
like that stuff.
I felt like a new man.
Did you spell it right?
And so that's how I met Ryan. So I encourage you guys to get on GitHub and check out these projects. And yeah, even if you don't, consider yourself like a uber duper super coder, it's good to get in there and try to participate. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I've been working on this Rails Backbone application so I was looking at Chaplin to rework it instead of just using Backbone as the front end framework, and talked Ryan into doing an example app of it, so that should be good. It's basically a fabric library where you can look at different kinds of fabric swatches, like literally like textile. And so we should see some of the utilities in Chaplin, like how the memory management. That's one thing that looked pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Creating and disposing of views properly and so forth.
Yeah, with Backbone, every time you register an event handler, create a view, subscribe to some global event, you have to make sure you dispose that, you have to make sure you move that from the DOM, unregister your events. Memory management can get a bit messy. With Chaplin, you really don't have to worry about that too much. It takes care of most of that. There's an automated dispose method where it goes through, cleans it after each view. It's a very structured model. I'm going to run through really quickly and show you, because this thing right here is just an index page of a Chaplin application. So I'll quickly show you how we got there. Chaplin does away with the backbone router, which is it's just a string to function-based router. So in Chaplin replaces that, still on top of backbone.history, which is the push state mechanism. It replaces that with this right here, which is, if you've used Rails at all, it uses controller sharp action for introduce the concept of controllers, which are meant to bind models or collections to views. And you have one controller per route, which is that empty quote right there is just any route. But one controller, one action per route, and that one action is instantiating one view and attaching one model or one collection. It's very structured. We go open up the controller here, and here's the index controller. It's just view equals new view, view render. That's it. Got it. There's the view. There's just get template function. Chaplin's micro-templating language agnostic. You can use any template language you want. I have Haml hooked up here. We don't have to go too much into the Haml. But it's just right there is saying this is the template we're using. Chaplin will automatically serialize the models and collections and give them to your template as context data. So you can reference anything in the models or collections that were in your template. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make a quick Chaplin is on top of Backbone. It's not a thin layer, but it's thin enough that if you know Backbone, you can do a lot of things in Chaplin without even needing to know Chaplin besides its basic structure. So I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a collection for his. Let's go here. I want to make that. Okay. Now, you can see here I'm using the common JS module format. It's just a religious war. If you don't understand, it's okay.
Typo required.
Yeah, I can't spell, I'm sorry. There you go. The syntax clearing helps when trying to spell. And these collections use Backbone all are just, saying where the heck things are. It's API/products. There you go. That's it for the collection. Now, I'm going to go in the controller here. Still required, I swear. Okay, I require that collection. Now, these controllers, as you see, go away. As you see, I'm referencing this object right here. This is all CoffeeScript. And I'm referencing this object. Anything you put into this context in a controller action will be automatically disposed. If I attach a collection there, if I attach a model there, that's automatically disposed when you route away. When you route to a new action using, the guy clicks on a link, the user clicks on a link, it routes to a new controller action combination. The last one, dispose, every attached view and collection and model, those are all disposed. Asynchronous requests are stopped, disposed, all that stuff's taken care of. So that's why you make sure to attach it to this context right there. So I'm going to instantiate that, pass that to my view, and then after you render the view, go ahead and fetch that. There we go, that's that. In the view, this view over here, right now it's extending from Chaplin.view. Chaplin has two views you can extend from. View is just a very simple wrapper over Backbone.view. Aside from the disposal management, it gives you a number of extra things like named subviews, etc. I'm going to turn into a collection view, which is an aggregator of views. So if you give it a Backbone.collection, it'll automatically aggregate out its contents on the screen in discrete item views. Just make the item view class inside here. If the item view class gets a bit hairy, it can be in a different file, but it's only going to be a line or two, so that's okay. There we go. You make that a list element.
So this inherently sort of enumerates all those items.
Correct. Now, the collection view, by default, will enumerate these items and attach them to the DOM in the L of the view, sort of the view's div or whatever the tag name is. But I'm going to give this list selector here that's going to tell the collection view, attach my items here, jQuery selector, put that in, say, dot items. Okay. And I'm going to go over to templates, quickly make this item. Oh, there's that nice little Chaplin thing. Item.handle. Let's just do that's just handle. Not too much. Get rid of all that stuff. Bye-bye. Give you ul.items. Reference. In the back here, you can see I'm using Grunt to automate all the compiling and whatnot. It compiles all the CoffeeScript, the handle, the SAS, that's also there as well. Runs the HTTP server, runs the proxy server. If necessary, if you want to connect to someone's API and you don't feel like threading it in there, you don't have access to it. Local proxying is very nice because the backend can't tell if you're on the same domain or not. I'm actually using a double proxy to do that, but we're not going to get into that too much. And over here, page. We wait a while because Heroku likes to take a while to respond to me. And it's mad at me because I didn't spell this right. It's a spelling. And this is my personal computer. Push that again. Go. I see. Funny again. Sometimes this thing's interesting. Talk to Michael about his API. It's got some interesting non-RESTful things there.
It's my fault. It's my first API written, really.
It's not too bad. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
If we weren't going to have all these wonderful speakers tonight, I was just going to step up and the presentation was going to be like learning through public humiliation. We were going to step through my app and you guys were all going to be the peanut gallery and tell me what I did wrong and how to make it better. I think it would be educational.
We're on GitHub and we'll just commit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
You notice I did a very basic in the item template. It's very basic, just showing. Let me bring up what the objects are in the console here.